Hey everyone, today we are going to begin working on the coordinate plane. Before we really dig deep into what is the coordinate plane, how do we use it, what does it mean, things like that, we're going to kind of explore mapping locations, which is essentially what we'll be doing tomorrow and next week as we work on mastering ordered pairs and coordinate planes, okay? So, excuse me. Flip open, or I guess since we already tore it out, pull out page 519, 520, and 521, please. And let's go ahead and get started. So we can use grid paper or graph paper as we work on mapping locations or using the coordinate plane. And for this example, we're going to use this tiny little piece right here. And then this example also continues on to the next page, okay? So bear with me while I get my pen size correct really quick. That'll be better. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and start. So from school, Marcia walks 3 blocks north to the library. Then she walks 2 blocks east to the park. Her home is located 1 block south of the park. Draw a map that shows these locations. So for the sake of time and scrolling and the page moving all around, I'm going to go through and answer the questions below here verbally, and I just want you to be paying attention to when you're filling them in, okay? So number 1 says, label a dot in the lower left corner to represent school, okay? Notice how it says label. Putting a dot on a graph is not labeling it, okay? It's sort of like if we just put a whole bunch of X's on a line plot without any of the intervals or labels or anything, the data doesn't mean anything, okay? So we have to label this particular dot. Now we could sit here and we could write out school, or we could just put S next to it for school, okay? So then it says she walks 3 blocks north to the library. Well, here's the answers to number 2. Which direction do we need to go to move north? Think about the compass rose. We need to go up, right? So I'm going to draw an arrow. And how many units or how many blocks do we need to go up? 3. Okay. Whoop. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, put a dot. And remember, just putting the point is not okay. We have to also label it, right? This point represents L for library, right? So here comes number 3. Then she walks 2 blocks east to the park. Well, which direction do we need to go if we're going east? North, south, east. We have to go to the right. And how many do we have to go to the right? 2 blocks. So we're going to go over 2. We're going to put our point and we're going to label it P. Okay. Now, number 4, this one that I'm doing now is on the next page, but I'm going to finish drawing it on this particular example first. So it says her home is located 1 block south of the park. Well, south is which direction? Down. And how many do we need to go down to get home? 1 block, according to the problem. And then we're going to put H for home. Okay. Go ahead and meet me on the next page. In fact, why don't you go ahead and do the talk about it questions? Pause this video and then come back and let's answer the talk about it questions, or I'll answer the talk about it questions and you can check your work to make sure you did them right. Alrighty, so hopefully by now you have your talk about it questions done. Let's go ahead and answer them together. So we did number 1. I copied over our different points onto this particular map. The question number 2 says, does Marcia live closer to the park or to the library? Well, let's see. Her home is 1 unit south of the park, and it's 1 unit south of the library, but also 2 units east from there. Therefore, we know that she lives closer to the park. Okay. Is the library closer to the park or to Marcia's school? Let's see. The library is 3 units north of school and 2 units west of the park. Well, that means that it's closer to the park again. Okay. Describe how Marcia could walk from her home to her school. Okay. So there's 2 different ways we could do this. You could go over and then down, or you could go down and then over. Either way, it doesn't matter. So you could say, you could say 2 Actually, I was going to write units, but I just remembered the problem keeps talking about blocks, like walking blocks around her city. So I need to make sure I'm using that same vocabulary as I'm answering the question. Okay, so 2 blocks south, then 2 blocks west. You could flip that around and say 2 blocks west, 2 blocks south. Either way works, okay? And notice how I chose to use south and west, just since we're talking about mapping locations. We don't generally talk about down and up or over. We usually say north, south, east, west, northeast, southwest, things like that, okay? All right, and then number 5, write a problem that could represent locations of real-world objects. Use the grid to draw the map. So this could really be, there's not a single right answer for this question. The first thing that came to my mind were rooms in my house. So I could go like 2 units north and 1 unit east to get to my spare bedroom. It could also be locations of things in the kitchen or in the living room or in your bedroom. You could also do another example of a city or a town. You could do an example of a classroom or of school. There's a lot of different things that you can map locations for. So I'm not going to go over an answer to this one because it really kind of depends on what you put. Okay. So you are going to work on, let me erase the screen. You are going to be working on page 521 today.